Alright, so hopefully you guys can hear me pretty good. So this is me talking about the Walking Dead Season 8 finale slash Season 9 predictions, and also how I would write it myself going in to the next season, and going to be also talking about and making comparisons into the comics from All Out War going into after the Whisperer battle. So let's start off, because a lot of things I'm going to be explaining. I'm going to be jumping a little bit back and forth a lot, and it's for a reason, because a lot of these people's stories will be coming around in full circle, and there's Easter eggs and hints that things have been well pointed at. Have been pointed at. So, from the comics with All Out War, we're introduced to Negan, and with this Negan, he's a bit more harsh and a bit more brutal in things that he says, because it is the comics, rather than compared to the TV version of Negan. And within the lineup, it happens within Alexandria. And he chooses Glenn. So, let me remind you, at this point, there is no Abraham that gets killed. Abraham died before All Out War by Dwight. He caught an arrow to the eye. That's how he died. So, throughout that, let me remind you, there's no Daryl in the comics. Dwight is pretty much our Daryl character after All Out War. So, with Dwight's character, he's more, how do I say, he's more two-faced. He's more, I'm going to be on the side who's ever on top, who's winning, and who will win this fight. And just really switches sides. Unlike the TV version, he's more of a chicken shit. Calling it for what it is, to me, he's a chicken shit. And he doesn't really know, he's not processing right at the moment. So, when we get introduced to him, he tries to kill Daryl with an arrow to the face. But he ends up hitting, forget the chick's name, he ends up killing her instead. We do know eventually Daryl gets as a prisoner at Negan's compound, and Dwight's hauling him around like a dog in a drum suit, prisoner suit, and he has his get-up and his gear, his crossbow and his vest, his motorcycle, taunting him, saying, "I could easily be you." And really, and let me remind you, Daryl and Dwight cannot coexist within the Walking Dead TV universe. It's not working out. And we will get to that, We will get to that. And the reason why he's doing it, because he's pissed off. In the beginning, he was pissed off at Daryl he blames Daryl for the face burn. He blames Daryl for his wife getting took by Negan. And that's not Daryl's case. Dwight chose to steal from Negan. That's why it happened. So Dwight brought him upon himself, but he needs somebody to take it out on. But he knows what Daryl's capable of, and he knows he's useful. The mindset when Dwight had Daryl in the compound is like, "Hey, please say you're Negan. That's way me and you could overhand and we could take him out. I need help." But at the same time, he was showing Daryl how things were. That's why Daryl said he gets it. Now, with Sherry in the comics, she's a hoe. Her and Negan been messing around before the apocalypse. If you read Here's Negan, which is the flashback story. Which is that flashback story. And she's a ladder climber within the worst way, and we will get to that. We will get to that. Now, what would I choose with Dwight and Daryl? I mean, honestly, I think Daryl should have killed Dwight. Either that or keep him prisoner along with the Negan. But there's probably a good reason of why they're going to have Dwight and Sherry come back together. And we will get to that. Now, we're at to where, okay, Negan got beat. Rick slashed him in the throat. Comic book version, Rick's battered up, can barely move, has a bad leg now because of the fight, because Negan really broke the shit out of it. So he's limping a lot after the 4-year time skipping TV series. His leg didn't get hurt, so he's still good. He's still intact. Now, who is going in the comics? Dwight is Rick's right hand man after the war. Dwight is the field leader. And the field runner, the field leader to lead a group out for scavenging, supplying, even picking up trading goods amongst the communities. So who's the leader at the compound now? This is my theory, and this is how I would write this for the TV version. The woman with the tattoo on her neck, looks like she got like one of those little price tag tattoos, where you go to the checkout stand and they scan a little barcode. I have a feeling Dwight and Sherry are going to come back, but they're in the shadows, being better leaders than Negan, but still having that girl with the price tag tattoo being a front person, kind of like make her look like she's the leader, but not really. Because, Dwight said, not Dwight, Daryl did say, don't, if I see you again, I'm going to kill you. There will be them coming back in induction soon. We do know that at the end of season 8, you have Maggie, Jesus, Daryl planning on a civil war against Rick because they want to kill Negan because they think he did the wrong thing. The comic beef of that is this. In the beginning, when Glenn got killed in the comics, yeah, Maggie punched the shit out of Rick and she blamed him for his death because you didn't do anything. Later on, after that, after Negan, which we will get to, right? Because everything's going to come around full circle for wrapping up certain people's story arcs. In the TV version, she didn't blame him. She didn't hit him for it. But Daryl thought it was his fault in the first place of why Glenn got killed. And that was like, season 7, I do believe, right? Side B of season 7. And she doesn't blame him. Now that he let Negan live, she hates him, blames him now. It's like in the comics. And has this whole thing going on, which is stupid. First and foremost, I think Jesus is playing out smart, like, you shouldn't do this, but I'm going to go along with it anyways. And he's the one that's going to have common sense, and I believe going to try talk some sense into her and Daryl and not doing this. But they're not going to listen, because he's going to be busy fighting in the Whisperer War, which, when the Whisperer War comes, the comic book version was a let down. It was all hype. That's it. All of us in the community felt that way in the Walking Dead community. TV version adaptation should be better. Now, at the end of the Whisperer War, Sherry confronts Rick. Like this literally happens. Like, there's no rest for Rick and the gang after the Whisperer War, because it's like straight through. It's like, I kind of want to say almost a full 24-hour, 35-hour, almost 3-day process of not rest because of them fighting. And the reason why Sherry wants, and this is the thing, like, Sherry and the Saviors want to go back to how Negan ran things, which is stupid. In the comics, it was just stupid. They want to go back to how Negan had things. And Sherry's a bad person in the comics. Like, she's really not great. She confronts Rick about it. Negan comes up, tells the Saviors, like he's showing his power in the comics, step down. He's letting it known, like, yeah, I may have been gone and captured, but I still have the power. I'm still Negan, damn it. And they listen, they step down. Sherry is talking to Rick. He slaps the shit out of her. And this part's, not realistic, but he slaps her, literally twists her head around, breaks her neck, and she dies. Dwight's all up in his feelings, but Negan says, hey, Sherry was never down for it, and he tells her about Sherry, how she is. Like, bro, she's a ladder climber in the worst way, yada, 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 And so that whole little thing, is just over with. But we do get to Negan leaving because he just walks away after that. He doesn't want anything to do with none of the groups. But we will get to that. The TV version of that at the end, I can see the front runner, Dwight and Sherry coming out of the shadows, for say, talking to Rick after the war, of whatever the dialogue may be. And this is how I would write it for this. Going into season 9. Because Alexandria at this point, it's so much in ruins from the Whisperers, from so many walkers, that at the moment right now, there's nothing to save, nothing to scavenge. Yeah, they clear out the walkers like they always do, but it gets a little bit more harder to do this time. So they're pretty much at Hilltop like they were now. And even Hilltop's rebuilding. Because Hilltop has more sources for that, what it seems like in the comics. It's like in the TV series. So they run into a new, during the process of this, there's a group, what's the name of them? I can't think of the name of this group, this community right now. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I can't think of it. They're not a bad group, but it's a 6-point story arc, and I don't think it's going anywhere. But they do talk about other communities outside of states and them having their own connection, having their own lines. And I think that's what's going to be worked on, because Rick does go there once Eugene comes back with the Michonne sword. And I will get to that. But right now, I know I've seemed to go a little bit off topic, but I wasn't, because that's important that I described that. But this is how I see it, how I see this TV version playing out where I was at. They're talking. Daryl sees Negan, tries to take him out. Tries to kill him. He hits him with the bow. Daryl loads it up fast. But Rick tries to stop him. This is when we get Daryl. Now, okay, you got my wife for the last time. I'm going to kill you. Now we're getting villain Daryl. And I will say this. In the beginning, when we first meet Daryl and his brother, they weren't villains. They weren't bad guys, but they were making bad decisions. And they keep pointing at this in the series, because Daryl, pointed out, I could have easily been in the prison with them, easily been at the people at Woodbury, easily been part of, Negan's group, or he easily could have been part of the Claimers. And that's foreshadowing that I believe, he's going to kill and try to kill Rick so he can kill Negan. And then he's going to take out Dwight. But in this part, I think Dwight's going to kill Daryl by saving Rick's life and putting an arrow through him. Because he may not have the crossbow, but he has the compound bow. In the Whisper War, that compound bow, even before the Whisper War in the New Beginning arc, he uses it a lot. Like that, to save their bullets. Like they use arrows and swords. Right? Because they want to scavenge on ammunition, even though they have Eugene. They want to salvage, they want to build up as much as they can. Build up as a lot as they can. And, there's going to be some shock. But in order to bring life back into what once was Daryl, they're going to show symbolism in this towards Daryl's vest. He's going to have tattered wings. Tattered wings, broken wings of a fallen angel. Dwight's going to take that vest. And when we see it again, it's going to be fixed up. It's going to be almost brand new to say, hey, takes flight again. He's going to take Daryl's crossbow. And the arrow in the symbolism stands for the arrow of light that points towards a new path. A new beginning. And that's what those mean. So yeah, he's gonna have the crossbow, and probably the compound bow in Daryl's vest, and that's how I would have it. So in the end, yeah, Daryl didn't start out as a nice person. He worked his way in becoming an anti a little bit, then good guy, and then back to then full on villain. You know, his storyline came around full circle. From there, we get, you know, Dwight being Rick's right hand man, letting him say, "Yeah, please lead this group of the Sanctuary." I don't believe there's going to be a falling out with trade and goods. They still want that, and throughout the time, they're going to talk about rebuilding Alexandria. Again, bigger and better each time, you know. Just like with Hilltop. Maggie comes around to her Maggie's not around to her senses right now. But in the comics, just like in TV series, how this is going to be, she's going to chase down Negan. She finds Negan's at a house. Negan has a breakdown. When I mean breakdown, you know how things in life that you let build up for so long till one day it gets so built up inside that you just have that breakdown. Well, that's what happens. And she gets it. She understands it. So she lets him live by just walking away. And that's her way of saying, okay, I forgive you. And then she forgives Rick. So that part of the forgiveness with Maggie, and the last time we'll see Negan, is that wraps it up. Because there's really no more you can really do with Negan. I don't really see him coming back around in the comics for anything, but probably in the TV series I do. And I will say that for a reason when I get to it. Along with that, right, Michonne in the comics, you know, her and Rick ain't together. Her and Rick is not together. Matter of fact, she was with Ezekiel, but they have a falling out. She was pregnant, but she got an abortion. And she ain't doing good mentally. It starts to hit. She's going through some things not right. So she leaves for those years and becomes a pirate, but trades fish amongst the oceanside community that gives it to the other community. In the game that ties into the comics of this, she's looking for her daughter. She has 2 daughters. Now, her daughters, when she gets to this new community after the Whispers and all that, she finds her daughter still alive, and she gives her sword to Eugene. And that's letting him know to tell Rick, hey, she found her kids. She now wants to be a mom in this new community. She's no longer a warrior. She stepped down. This is her way of saying my story's complete and what it is. But Rick wants to see this new community. It is not a bad community. It's not. But we're being introduced on how this community works, and it's good. It's a nice, steady story arc as right now. Not too much in, but it's nice and steady. And I can see that playing in somewhat to the TV series. But there's one thing. Rick is married to Andrea, and Andrea dies in the last part of the Whisper War. Now, how she dies, it wasn't explained. It was... We don't know if it was a bullet wound, a stab wound, or a scratch by walkers, even though she was surrounded by a mixture of humans and walkers. But they show a line on her neck. It's not properly good or described. That was rushed. And the TV version is going to be explained better, which means, yeah, Michonne will die after the Whisper War because she's married to Rick. Who's going to take Michonne's story arc in the comics as the pirate version? That's going to be Carol. Carol, you know, she lost her child in season 2. Who else? Morgan lost his child around season 1-ish. Michonne, flashback to I think season 4. Now Rick. You know, if you're a child, if you're a child and your parents are one of these characters in The Walking Dead, from comic version or TV series, it's not great to be them. You're gonna die. Okay, you're not gonna make it. So it's gonna be Carol, and her and Ezekiel are gonna have a falling out, but she'll come back around to help fight in the Whisper War. So the question is, who's gonna get Michonne's story arc in the Walking Dead comics is she reunited with her daughter after for so long. I'm gonna give that to the junkyard woman. I forget her name too. And the reason why I say that, because it's Eugene, Michonne, and some two other people that go on this road trip to Ohio, I think it is. And see that community? I think it was Ohio. So it's going to be them, just minus Michonne, you know. And I'm going to write Jadis, that's her name, Jadis. Or now E, or N, or whatever she wants to go by. I think she doesn't know her identity right now. And I'm going to write it to where, if I were writing it, I'll be like, her backstory is this, when they get to this community. She opens up, like, I actually had a daughter, a child, you know, we were separated throughout all this. She finds her, and she gives Eugene something to say to Rick. Hey, this was my story. I got reunited with my child. My story has come to an end. Please let me live in peace and be a mother here. And then that's when we get TV series Rick, like, I'll accept it. Well, let's go visit this new community. So everyone's story arc comes around full closed, right? And what I can see, you know, for 2-year time skip with this, once Alexandria's back being rebuilt again, you're having bigger trading groups amongst the TV version of this. You still have the saviors without falling out. You know, you have the White leading them. You have the kingdom. Maggie's back to her senses, so you have Hilltop back in the play. Oceanside, you have this new community in this state. And then with several other states around there, you know, just a good line of communication, you know. And then I can see Morgan coming back into play around this time. Because he got his mind straight. Now and here's the thing, and this is how I would end The Walking Dead, the TV series. Rick and Morgan was the first duo we seen. The show began with those two. Okay? It should end with those two fighting their last battle together. They should do a crossover with Fear going into The Walking Dead. Have the Fear community be villains. Have them where they're attacking these communities before. Let's say they're looking for Morgan for some reason. They're attacking these other communities. Other survivors who escaped are getting down to go see Rick. And let's say they attack the other communities, but not Alexandria right now. From Hilltop, Oceanside, the Sanctuary. Yet again, the survivors, that whoever's left, they get to Rick before our villains do from Fear. They tell them now it's time to get prepared for battle and for war. Morgan pulls Rick to the side as they're preparing for this, like being on now high alert. Because now all the community is destroyed except for Alexandria. So Morgan tells them. And Rick's like, alright, let's get prepared to fight. Let's set up. You know, let's do what we can quick, set up. Watch TV series, you know, they're going to have stuff planned out, set up right away. Even explosives, you know. Even Eugene's outpost gets attacked. Eugene survives, but he's going to fight this. He's going to fight. But he brought what he could. For ammunition, you know. The last 4 standoffs have Nick versus Morgan and the mother versus Rick. Boom, boom, boom. Everyone's injured. Rick's ears are ringing. He's coming in and out of not trying to pass out. Even though he took down who he took down, but he's dying himself. Alexandria is beyond ruins. He looks to the side. He sees Nick dead, Morgan dead. Rick is slowly dying. As he dies off, he becomes the Lonely Walker. And there's a theory about the Lonely Walker theory comparing to Rick. In the beginning, we see Rick really by himself walking on a road. We see the Lonely Walker in season 2, and then another Lonely Walker as a promo picture from supposed to show in last night's episode, but it didn't. But to make people think that Rick is still alive, let's show the feet walking, kind of staggering. Looks like, okay, he's injured, he's staggering. Moves up, moves up, moves up, moves up. And we kind of see the side of the back of his head. But we don't hear no sounds. Now, I remind you, Morgan and Rick started together. They ended together. But Rick is going to end the show by himself, as we seen him by himself walking back in season 1 when we got introduced to him before Morgan. And this is where Negan comes back into play. He sees Rick. He's in shock of like the communities, what happened. He doesn't know. And the reason why he's going back, he's thinking maybe in the first place in his mind, he wants to make things more right. He just wants to be part of something now. He's changed on changed, But thing is, people, where did he go? Well, actually, he went back home, where it all started at in the beginning, anyways. He sees Alexandria, he's thinking, is there anybody here? He sees to be Rick. He doesn't know Rick turned. None of the audience know that Rick turned. He's excited. He's like, I knew that bastard would live. He'll probably say something funny. Rick turns around, but it's not Rick. It's Walker Rick. And Negan's like, he doesn't kill him, but he kind of sees some tears roll down his face, and he respects Rick. From there, we do a split screen. Negan knows now there's nothing left. So you have Walker Rick going this way and Negan going this way, just walking, showing Negan the last man standing and Rick the last walker, the lonely walker. And then it just pans out into the credits. And that's how I would have it. That's how I would have everyone's story come around for a circle, even with fear. And just end it like how I described it. And plus how I would just write things as it would make sense. So this is how I would just, how I would write things going into season 9 throughout season 11. Just have 11 seasons. And that's about it, man. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm out.